Prologue Wakanda 10,000 years ago Sinink Castle the Mystic Clan region The battery was made from a brown ceramic pot, a vibranium cylinder, an iron rod and an acidic liquid. The device powered the 12 lights along the airy walkway from the castle's entrance. The battery was as tall as King Bashenga as he passed it, and his hyper sense of vision allowed him to notice the reeds hidden underneath the footpath that transported the electricity to the oddly shaped lights. King Bashenga the Black Panther was met by the Mystic Clan leaders, the Sininks. They were a husband and wife team who seldom left the region, so Bashena had to seek them out. "Good night, King of Wakanda," said the Sininks. "Good night, stalwarts of this young nation," said King Bashenga. "I see that you have been making good use with the vibranium that was shared with your clan. The metal has sped up the implementation of a lot of our ancient concepts," said the Sininks. "Today marked the one-year anniversary of the metal arriving in Wakanda and the formation of the nation. I sent an invitation for you to attend a meeting of the clans, but your absence was noticeable." "Is something amiss?" asked King Bashenga. "No. Our clan remains in agreement to submit to your leadership like the other clans did. Our work kept us from the ceremony and all our clan members were needed," replied the Sininks. "It looks bad when the Mystic Clan does not attend. As a young nation, certain traditions must be practiced so that they mold the society and become cemented through time. The meeting of the clans is such a tradition," said King Bashenga. "King, magic or unexplained science is volatile. Our clan stopped a mutated spirit from entering our nation and spreading illness today. Tomorrow we'll likely see another rogue spirit, and the day after that. Our clan's training takes up many hours that make social spectacles moot to us," the Sininks. "Then appoint someone who has the least skills in magic as the proxy representative of your clan," said King Bashenga. Present-day Wakanda T'Challa opened the door to the mystic techno-organic prototype that was created in the 1300s by Wakandan scientists and the Mystics clan to demonstrate a possible future of living cybernetics. The prototype slowly unraveled its neck and the ivory tusks from its mouth scraped the floor. The 3 rows of golden wings were spread out to 200 meters while the flamingo legs lifted the prototype out of the green pool. T'Challa reached out a hand and the prototype responded likewise. The Kimoyo computer of T'Challa's Black Panther uniform interfaced with the circuitry of the prototype to perform a software update. The tender soul of the prototype warmed T'Challa's heart. It was a soul that he had felt when he stood outside the room. Moments after the update, the prototype went offline and T'Challa left. Because of the encounter, he contemplated on whether he should preemptively wipe out a civilization of humans turned computers, aka the machine world. The machine world did not have souls, and in Wakandan culture that made killing them easy. But was it right? T'Challa asked himself. He went to a border wall to check on his sister's investigation into the spirits of defeated invaders being seen there. For centuries various foreign armies were slain on the border, and the Mystics clan had placed a barrier to block the ghosts from entry into the country. But the barrier had been interfered with. "How did it go with the prototype?" asked Shuri. "Hard as usual," replied T'Challa. "One day someone will shut it down permanently," said Shuri. "Despite it having a soul." 2 hours later, Shuri entered the homestead of the Mystic Clan council member. At the heart of the compound was a massive rock that was surrounded by 7 stone pillars. The counselor exited one of the houses and came to Shuri. They greeted each other and Shuri asked about the rock. "It is an anchor for the protection spell around the homestead," replied the counselor. "Interesting. So what is the anchor for the protection spells on Wakanda's border walls?" asked Shuri. "The vibranium mound, of course," replied the counselor. "So how was a spell barrier on the wall breached recently?" asked Shuri. "Because of you, that is the reason I called for this meeting between us," replied the counselor. "More specially, an alien ghost broke through the barrier and opportunistic spirits of warriors slain by Wakanda on the border have made use of the breach. I tracked the alien ghost to you. So, do you know of my lineage, Shuri? I am of the bloodline of Beta the Lesser, the first counselor of this clan. In the past you and T'Challa worked with the greater known mystic families but not with mine. I am still waiting for you to get to the point, said Shuri. I want to assist you on capturing this alien ghost and sealing the barrier. Then I want official state recognition of my part in this adventure, replied the counselor. You want to be a hero, said Shuri. No, I want to bring honor to my family name, said the counselor. Chapter 2 T'Challa contemplated whether he should run a behavioral spy system on his fiancée Nakia, much like he did his inner circle of Shuri, Queen Mother, Kana, and Okoye. Admittedly, there were aspects of Nakia's life that were still a mystery to T'Challa due to the nature of their relationship. As for Shuri, her behavioral patterns were within the normal range, but it was her husband Kana who deviated from his base range over the last 20 hours. So T'Challa went to him to have a causal conversation as a ruse to find out the cause of the problem. At the time, General Kana inspected a small data farm that served the military. The Black Panther's sudden appearance surprised him. I didn't hear you come in, said Kana. I get that a lot, said T'Challa. Is everything all right with you? Shuri is acting strange, replied Kana. In what way? I can't explain it, but my gut tells me that something is not right with her. When did you first notice? A few days ago. Does it happen around your children? Sometimes, and when she speaks with me. Maybe the ghost problem that she is working on is causing it, replied Kana. Intrigued, T'Challa returned to his office to run over the analytics from his sister's surveillance, and everything pointed to a normal reading. His personal feeling was that Kana was truthful to him. The southeast border wall, the vengeful ghost of an ogre slipped through the tear in the supernatural barrier and entered Wakanda, but the giant met Shuri and the counselor waiting to destroy him. Next story, Spiritual Warfare Chapter 1 Friendship. Even though T'Challa spent only a few minutes at a time over the years with the prototype, the warm spirit of the being made the Black Panther consider him a close friend. Unfortunately, T'Challa's friendships were often tested and broken to the point that he trusted no one. The prototype's sudden change in behavior proved T'Challa's convictions were correct. Okoye, is Shuri still battling the ghosts on the border? T'Challa asked via his Black Panther's masked Kimoyo interface. Yes, and she has contained the fight to one section. Okay, whoever released the prototype from its chamber and reprogrammed it to attack me must have done so to cause a large distraction, said T'Challa. So far no military or civilian assets have been harmed, said Okoye. Keep looking, said T'Challa. The prototype punched the Black Panther on the chin. T'Challa countered with a swift strike to the left arm joint of the attacker. The energized gauntlet on T'Challa's hand slashed through the cyber-organic skin of the chimera-like being. The android face of the creature winced behind the ivory tusks that shielded it. Then the boa constrictor-like neck raised the head high off the body so that the creature looked down on T'Challa. A spear of light formed in the Black Panther's right hand and he stabbed it at the prototype, but one of the creature's 4 golden wings got in the way. Then the creature surprised T'Challa with a capability that not even the scientists and mystics who created it knew about. The soul force erupted out of the prototype and T'Challa felt it down to the very core of his spirit, which left him at a standstill. He felt like a spell was cast on him. He knew that he should move his arms, legs and head from the danger. He told his body what to do, yet he could not move because of the crushing force that was upon his soul. The prototype's eyes gave off a yellowish shine that signaled its intention to kill him. Mentally, the Black Panther used the Kimoyo to access the Vibranium Mound control tower where the battle between him and the prototype took place. T'Challa ordered the control tower's computer to detach the cable that T'Challa stood on. T'Challa estimated that the miners had cleared the area since he raised the alarm of a sudden attack. The cable fell along with T'Challa and he glimpsed the showroom where 3 minutes earlier he was holding a meeting with the minor clan leaders. Having missed T'Challa when it tried to grab him, the prototype flew off the falling cable and circled around in order to intercept the Black Panther. "The border wall, Shuri, your brother is in trouble," said Okoye. "The prototype has got the upper hand somehow." "Why doesn't T'Challa hack it?" asked Shuri. "He tried but the beast's spirit pushed him out." "I will give T'Challa the benefit of the doubt that he has not lost control of the situation," said Shuri. Then she continued her battle with the ancient ghosts of those slain by Wakanda on the border, which comprised of the metal-crazed Kibuji, ogre, extraterrestrials, humans, the Rakakabe, ogre, the lightning bird Impundulu, Tokolash, gremlins, and Bodas, were hyenas. The leader of the mystic clan aided her and he informed her that the mythical beings were once sent by mystics from other nations. Shuri used her Membek gifts of superhuman speed, metallic skin, strength, anamorphing in conjunction with the spear of Bashan-Ga. "Wolof, see to the closing of the tier in the border wall spell barrier," said Shuri to the mystic clan leader. Chapter 2. T'Challa blocked out the world and the impending collision with the prototype. He focused on his spirit and its connection to the previous Black Panthers from over the last 10,000 years. Instantly his spirit was in the presence of the Panther Pavilion, then the soul force lost its grip on him. He regained control of his body movements and he swerved out of the prototype's path and he snatched its leg. T'Challa stabbed a spear of light into the back of the creature. There was a minor explosion and the creature's soul flicked in intensity. Next story, The Forge. Chapter 1. Didelaine was the noble hero whose spirit was in the prototype, said Wolof, the counselor for the Mystic clan. "Never heard of him," said Shuri. "He was not a Wakandan hero. My clan brought his trapped soul to this region when they migrated from southern Africa in the pre-Wakanda era," said Wolof. T'Challa, who was ahead of the two, paused when he heard that the Mystic clan were migrants from the southern region of the continent. For a moment he rationalized that was the reason his South African stepmother had an affinity of the Mystic clan, but he dismissed the idea because it was too far-fetched. T'Challa resumed the tracking of Didelane's soul through the Black Tower of Mkumbe. The tower was hidden inside of a marble baobab tree and accessed through incantations by Wolof. A bitumen-like substance coated the 10,000 feet tall architecture. Hot vapors came off the coating and they carried a peculiar stench. The orifice to the tower was made by T'Challa with his spear of light when Wolof's chants were ineffective. Chapter 2. T'Challa recalled that the prototype was created in the tower during the 1300s. It could be that Didelaine is returning to his birthplace now that he is freed of his techno-organic shell, said T'Challa. "But he is not from our region," said Shuri. "He may not remember that," said T'Challa. "That is highly likely. He may not even know that he was a king once," said Wolof. T'Challa sensed a second supernatural presence with his heightened senses, and the interloper was familiar to him. "The Sith is here," said T'Challa. "Did he follow us?" asked Shuri. "No, he was waiting in here," replied T'Challa. "Wolof, what can you tell me about the forge that is in the tower?" "I don't know where it is, since that secret went to grave with its designers because they did not anyone repeating their feat," replied Wolof. "Hence the Sith's manipulations to get Didelaine here," said T'Challa. T'Challa led the team into an overgrown garden where slabs of vibranium floated about with symbols carved on them. A sharp hiss came from the center of the garden as a machine materialized. "It is a crude computer," said T'Challa. "But this is not where Didelaine headed." He went downward. He produced a spear of light and stabbed it into the ground, but the weapon shattered. "Let me try," said Shuri, and she sent the spear of Bashan-Ga into the floor, which cracked it. "I will provide a boost," said Wolof as he performed a spell that widened the cracks. Chapter 3 The Sith Ghost believed that a higher force guided him from his multiverse to Wakanda to find the unique Soul Forge. Now that he had it, the next step was leave the country with the device, and Shuri was going to make that happen whether she wanted to or not. Next story, Didelaine the Diviner. Chapter 1 T'Challa understood that the marble statues of the Canine and the Salientian represented life and death. "Do you think they will come alive and attack us?" asked Shuri. "I would not doubt it, because the mystics went through a lot trouble to hide the forge in this place," replied T'Challa. "Speaking of which, where are we now, Wolof?" asked Shuri, and she knocked on one of the giant roots that rose up to the garden that was above the three adventurers. "This is Wakanda's Kembil," replied the counselor for the Mystic clan. "The glowing plants floating around us represent the life tree of every Wakandan." "Some of these plants are withering," said T'Challa. "That means the person associated with that particular Kembil is an aged citizen," said Wolof. Apart from the life trees, there was a sound that T'Challa heard from the roots, a pulsing sound like a drum. The beat resembled the word yo. In the Black Panther's study of astrophysics, he learnt that vibration played a crucial part in the creation of the universe, and some cultures attributed that vibration to a particular sound or group of words. In some African cultures, that vibration sound was yo. T'Challa's other hypersense soul tracking picked up on the movements of Didelaine and the Sith. "Our targets went through the gates guarded by the Canine and Salientian," said T'Challa. He was prepared for the Sith because he had a specialized armor interwoven into his nano-infused Black Panther ceremonial suit. His concern was for his sister Shuri, who was once under the telepathic influence of the Sith. As for Didelaine, the Black Panther would depend on Wolof's advice on how to treat with him. Chapter 2 The Soul Forge was marked with the motifs of a dog and a toad racing each other. The device stood at 3 feet tall with metal flaps on its sides and a cylinder on its top. Crude dials were on the front and back of the machine, and the entire device was made from vibranium. "T'Challa, tell me when you see the Sith, I will know what to do," said Shuri when they entered the room where the Soul Forge was located. T'Challa spotted Didelaine's soul in the forge's cylinder, and the robed Sith was next to the machine. "I see him," said T'Challa as his specialized armor materialized to counter the Sith's abilities. Shuri tossed the spear of Bashanga at her brother. He caught it and then threw the anti-mystic weapon into the Sith. A second later, T'Challa had jumped from the entrance to the Sith, who dropped to his knees as he tried to pull the weapon out of him. "I will resurrect him," shouted Shuri. At once the Sith took on a fleshy appearance as Shuri's Membek gifts worked on him, and T'Challa recognized that her plan was for him to be constantly between life and death, thereby distracting him enough for T'Challa to do as he pleased. T'Challa had theorized that because the Sith was not of that multiverse, he may not have immunity from certain astrophysical properties native to the multiverse. The Black Panther opened his right palm over the Sith, and exotic quark energies poured down on the intruder, which burned him away. Then T'Challa heard a new heartbeat next to him, and when he turned he saw Didelaine in flesh form. Chapter 3 The Techno Jungle. "Wakanda, my Membek gifts must have invertedly resurrected Didelaine," said Shuri. "He is the size of the Juggernaut," said Okoye while she looked at the hologram in the center of the meeting room. "His armor and weapons, though primitive in design, are close to ours in potency," said General Kana. Holograms of a bracelet, twin-blade swords and a shield came out of the image of Didelaine. Wolof said that he may be a demigod but is unsure. "He is doing more research," said T'Challa. "Didelaine will be kept in isolation from the general public for the time being." "How did he die in the first place? Does anyone know?" asked Kana. "He allowed his people to kill him to put their fear of him to rest, even though he had saved the said people from a great peril as cited by Wolof," replied Shuri. "As a king he did his duty in laying down his life for his country. I will have to find out if he still feels the same way or if he has a grudge against humanity," said T'Challa. In the Black Panther's lifetime he had only known his father as being the only leader who was killed for his people. Didelaine presented a peculiar examination of that viture.